Tonight, I simply want to talk with you about what is happening in our world and maybe what the response of those of us who are followers of Christ should take. It's difficult living in a world that is so filled with hateful rhetoric. The tragedy is that not only is the speech heard, but there are enough unstable people in the world who hear that speech and then commit acts of violence. You and I live in a world where we've watched young children massacred in school. We've watched the church in Charleston, the African American church, the pastor and most of the people who were there that Wednesday night killed. We've seen a synagogue attacked. We've seen churches attacked. We've seen groups of people attacked. And the question is, in this kind of world, with this type of hateful rhetoric, what is our response? I have no illusions that those of us who are in the church are going to say anything that will stop public figures from saying things that are so hurtful. The issue really isn't whether you and I are successful in what we do. It really isn't whether you and I are able to stop all of this rhetoric and all of this hate. The issue for those of us in the church is to be faithful to what Jesus has called us to be and to say. When I was a pastor, as many of you are, I would stand up and I would try to speak words of encouragement, words of love, words of hope, words of help to the lives of people. I understood that my calling was to speak the words. There is no way that you and I can speak the words and make them be heard at the ears of people. It was the same way for Jesus. So many times, he offered such powerful insights into life. Whom does God love? The waiting father in the Gospel of John. The father loves both the younger son and the older son. But the tragedy is that the father who represents God can't make the older son hear. The older son has to open his ears to hear the love and care of his father. So our task in the church, our calling, is not to be successful in what we do. It is to be faithful in what we do. It is to follow Jesus Christ. Was Jesus a success in earthly terms in his time? Certainly not. Nailed to a cross. So many people who listened to him may have applauded what he said at the moment, but they never really committed their lives to him. What did Jesus do? Did Jesus say, because nobody is really listening to what I have to say, I'm going to stop talking. To the end, Jesus was talking to the people of Jerusalem about the peace and the hope that make our lives what they should be. Weeping over the city of Jerusalem, if only you had known the things that make for peace, if only you had known the things that can bring all of the elements of your life together so that you find in the center of your life a love for God. If only you had known these things. But they didn't listen. Maybe this is the time for you and me to listen as well as speak. Let's listen to Jesus, who is so concerned about the poor, so concerned about the marginalized, so concerned about those who had nothing, so concerned that there were people made in God's image, and those people were broken deeply in their lives. Don't heal on the Sabbath, they said to Jesus. The man has been by the pool of Bethsaida for 38 years. Wait one more day. Don't you understand? Jesus said. I want you to listen to me. Don't you understand? One day in all of our lives is so vitally important. We talk about holding on to hope. This day, God has made for you and for me. It is a difficult time, but this is the day that God has made. And knowing that, you and I can live in hope.